You're listening to On the Verge on WTVU. BU's only music and talk show, bringing you the latest in campus life, entertainment news, and trending topics worldwide, with stories from Verge campus and new music from Good Music All Day. Everything you want to hear,
minus what you don't.
Every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Before we had that awesome music sound block, we were talking about how DJ Looney Tunes is the coolest person in the world because she got to go to Forbes' 30 Under 30 Summit this past week, which is actually super relevant to today's Just College Things topic. We've been trying to figure out what to title it. I think we're going with young, Y-U-N-G, of course, young ballers. Mm-hmm. Maybe entrepreneurship 101 with OTV. I don't know what to call it.
Or the Forbes event that I had mentioned, Dorm to Series A. So maybe that's what we can call it.
Dorms to Series A. Love it. Ooh, can you grab the phone?
Let's grab this phone.
So what we're doing with this segment this week is we have 2 interviews from college students who are killing it because they both had a vision, had a passion, went for it, and ended up putting together 2 really awesome organizations. One of them is on the phone right now. We're going to get it ready to put her on. Hello, Sophie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very great because I'm excited to have you on air today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. So give our viewers a little introduction because I didn't really give them one. I was very vague. So tell us about yourself.
So my name is Sophie Lipitz. I'm from Seattle. I'm a sophomore in the journalism program at Boston University. And I'm the editor-in-chief of a magazine called MMMHMM Magazine.
That was so modest. Guys, she's the founder of MMMHMM Magazine.
Snaps to
and
you.
She has a very cool name. I just love it, Sophie Lipitz.
We actually get a lot of feedback about the name. That's either very positive or people are like, I'm confused. They're like, there's too many M's.
No, it's fantastic. So give us a little description. What exactly is MMMHMM and why did you decide to put this together?
So MMMHMM is a lot of things. And in our first edition, we opened it up by saying that we're a food journal, we're a literary magazine, we're an artistic process, we're a collaboration, etc. We're a Boston publication. We check a lot of boxes. And really what we are is that we're an ingredient-based zine. So each of our editions will focus on either an ingredient or a technique and then do what we call full-circle journalism about it. And so when I say that, it can be anything from what our last edition was on, which was the oyster, which involved us going to Duxbury and farming oysters and working with Michael Serpa of Select Oyster and taking people through what is an oyster, what is this weird slimy thing, and how do I eat it, to our next edition, which is going to be on smoke, which is a process. So it's more about what is the process of smoking foods, working with Boston Smoked Fish Company. Actually, I just had a very interesting interview with Tony Messina of Uni yesterday about their smoked uni spoon, which is a very cool and innovative piece that they have on their menu.
That's awesome. So why exactly did you want to start this as opposed to just joining maybe an existing publication on BU's campus? What was your inspiration?
Well, I wrote for a couple different publications at BU, and I found that I wasn't getting the kind of one-on-one mentorship that I was looking for. And I also really was disappointed with the quality of kind of what we had for food. I think that food journalism, especially in the realm of college, can become pretty pandering. Things like how to make vegan brownies in your microwave. And if you read or even if you talk to me, it becomes very evident that that's not who we are. This is about engaging with the Boston food industry. It's about really making a lasting connection that has a symbiotic relationship. We're here to support small businesses. We're here to talk to new chefs and get their name out. In a way, we're functioning as a PR company that doesn't have any ties. We can really promote the people who are doing interesting things, and we can do that for no charge, and that's something that's really exciting. And then they can supply us with lots of amazing stories and information about the industry. So I think why did I found it beyond, I think, the fact that there's no magazine that really has this sort of content on campus, there really is something about the way that we're structured. We're different by design. It's all about we're small, and that's very much on purpose. Our writers team is only 5 people, and that means that we can give a lot of one-on-one attention and work collaboratively and really have everyone be on the same page. Copy editors are never going to go in without the writers knowing. The writer approves every change, and it's really power to the artist. That's how we function.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that. I think one of the coolest things about your publication is it's not just a magazine, but it's really a brand. I think that you've built it really well, and what you were just talking about regarding like keeping it small and working with businesses, and just I feel like you have a really concrete vision, which is so impressive for somebody who just founded their own publication, for a student to be doing so. But also, if anyone goes on your website, mag.com, you have like a little shop going on right now. You've been selling merch. I saw you guys really promoting yourselves on campus last week. So talk a little bit about that in terms of building a brand, how you approach that, maybe some challenges that you faced.
Yeah, sure. So we kind of have been making a transition lately, very, I would say, aggressively, to have the brand and then have magazine. Because as we're doing all the things that we're doing, we realize that although we love this format of having a magazine that just focuses on one ingredient, it can be limiting when we have all these other projects we want to be doing, and they may not necessarily directly relate to the topic we're covering at that time. So some exciting things we've been doing is our art director, Hannah Yang, who's in the School of Graphic Design here at CFA, she is completely amazing, and together we designed this couture line, if you will, of one-of-a-kind shirts that we hand-bleached and silk-screened, which was really exciting, and we did a little pop-up shop on Marsh Plaza, which is just kind of a way to kind of say, hey, we're here, and this is something cool that we're doing. And so all the proceeds of those shirts went to a fund that is bringing us to print. So right now, if you read the magazine online, it's very clear that we are a print magazine that is stuck online for the moment because we are working on funding. But that's something that all of these things are kind of gearing towards, but it's also a creative outlet for us to explore things. We've been talking about doing some like smaller, actually zine-style publications on random topics and kind of just giving them out as a word-of-mouth sort of thing. Having a brand really allows us to expand beyond just a food magazine and be more of, I would say, a food education-based group, and then have this be our outlet for communication through the magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just let our viewers know I got a shirt, and it's actually so cool because it's so funny. It's like, I want to say it's from like a music festival, right? It's like a band type shirt.
Yeah.
And the back says the Fuzz-tival with like a bunch of artists I've never heard of, and then the front is just like 2 cats going like in different directions.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the
oh my God,
right in the middle of the cats.
But it's funny. Angela definitely picked the weirdest shirt.
I love it. I wore it last week, and so many people were staring at me. So many people were like, "What the heck?" Because it's so weird. It's like, why is there an in between 2 cats?
I know. We went to Urban Renewal and we just grabbed a bunch of shirts, and Hannah was like, "I love this. We're doing it." And the other ones we did were mostly like dark plain shirts that we then bleached. So it was like a very kind of like grungy kind of look.
Yeah, but I love that. It's so much more authentic than people going on like, what's that website? Custom Ink.
Oh yeah.
And just like putting in on like plain white t-shirts. Like, you guys are being resourceful, you're being creative, and I think again you're just like extending your brand, because that really goes with just how your magazine itself is, really like from the bottom up, and just being true to you and to your vision. So I really like that a lot.
Absolutely.
So I think one thing. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that kind of the hats and the shirts, and also the magazine, this idea of being aesthetically very pleasing, kind of beyond, like, I think a lot of merch that you see come out of these groups, as you said, is like this customing stuff. And like a lot of people can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. It means, you know, having pleasure in your food. It means being in agreement. It means being sassy. And I think that it's a brand that people want to stand behind, even if, and hopefully they go and learn about the magazine and learn about us, but it's something that is very marketable, even if they don't necessarily know, oh, okay, this is a food publication that's based out of Boston. And I think that's something that has really worked in our favor, but it's an interesting thing where you can engage people through kind of trend and design, and then have them then become interested in your brand and what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I know when I wore my shirt, one of my friends saw it, and she's like, what is that? Like, I keep seeing it everywhere. I actually really want one of the hats. And I was like, actually, it's this really cool food magazine. And they were just so shocked because they thought, I don't know exactly what they thought, but they already just really liked your logo and thought that it was like a cool design itself. So then to really impress people with showing them your actual publication, I think is a really smart way of just like marketing yourself and being more universal, I guess.
Yeah. And food journal scares people off a little bit. Like, I think that food has become a trend, and I talk about this a lot, but it's something that's cool to like now. And so people really like the idea of easy, accessible food knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that this idea of kind of returning to, we like to kind of break it down into 3 categories, which is there's consumer, industry, and food industry. Consumer, food journal, and food industry.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of publications today are consumer to consumer. They're saying, this is how you can do these things. And then there's industry to consumer, which is something like Lucky Peach by David Chang, which is saying, this is what we do, and this is an introspective way of looking at it. And we are kind of people who have worked in the food industry and are objective foodies who are looking at the industry in a critical way and doing research. So that's something that's a little bit less easy to grasp onto. But once you start reading them, you find that it's all about being as easy to understand as possible and explaining something in every single way, whether it's through a satirical essay that sounds like a Judy Blume, Virginity Police, as it was in the oyster edition that turned out being someone's like first time eating an oyster, or in the smoke edition we have a ton of really cool illustrations and off-the-wall things. My favorite article they're working on right now is called Drinking Like a Woodsman, and it's all about different smoky liquors and spirits that you can go and try.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And I think, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but I feel like food journalism has become more popular through social media, but at the same time, it's not really journalism anymore. It's just kind of about people finding or taking really pleasing photos of food.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Spoon University and all those things.
Yeah.
Or even just like social media accounts that they literally just post pictures of
true.
food. I know that I follow a bunch of them just because I'm like, this is fun. And
I also find that like my photos, like it's like a picture of me or picture of family or friends, like it gets decent likes. If I put a picture of ice cream, everyone will love it.
Yeah,
like it's so many more likes.
People love pictures of food, but like no one's really providing any content or any substance along with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like what you're talking about, it's not something that people initially are familiar with. But I feel like that's really going to go in your favor because no one else is really doing that, and you're already taking advantage of, a topic that people like to see. And just adding more context to it. But do you guys think that you're going to go, like I know that you already have some social media accounts, but do you think that you're going to start going that route more in terms of just putting a lot of content, or do you feel like you're going to save like your pieces for just your magazine and use social media for like promotion?
Yeah, like we've been making a bit of a transition on that. Like I think that it is very important to us to have a print magazine, have something physical that really reads like a coffee book table. You flip through it and you learn everything you could possibly want to know about one ingredient, which we love. But there also is this thing where, if we're only releasing one a semester, like people aren't getting content from us for most of the year. And that's not really what we want to be doing. So we have started and will start pushing content out of our online blog, which is called Word of Mouth, which is going to be pieces all about kind of having our fingers on the pulse of what's happening in the Boston food industry, what's going on, random pieces that our writers are doing that are about food but not about our topic, which I think is a great opportunity for us to take outside of the magazine submissions and really share interesting thoughts and minds on what's going on. I think actually the first thing that will be coming out of our blog is a really interesting piece. It's a promotion for the Smoke edition, and it's Smoky Astrology. One of me and Angeli's good friends, Ata, came in to give us a little bit. Yeah, it was great. He is a astrology nut, and he came into the writers' meeting and told us all about the different signs, and we put together this like satirical horoscope, which is just so funny and so much fun. You should keep your eyes out on the website. It's going to come out hopefully later this week or early next week, so it'll be great.
That's awesome.
Honestly, you are a mastermind. Don't know how you think of these things. Can you give us, I guess my last little question, do you have any advice or wise words for other college students who might have an idea like you, who are passionate about something, but are kind of like afraid?
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like a lot of times college people are like, oh, you're in college, the world is your oyster. Oyster. You can do all this stuff. And then when you actually try to attempt things, people are like, oh, you're just a college student. Like, relax. Why do you need to build your own magazine? You can do that when you're an adult. So what do you have to say for people who are on the fence?
Well, I think to start, I'll just say that I never in a million years thought that I was going to found a magazine the second semester of my freshman year. That was never part of the plan. And I think that it was really scary when I realized that I had a lot of ambitions to writing sorts of things, and I wasn't happy with my options of where to put them. And then there was this whole thing of, oh, do I move completely out of my school, and start writing for publications that are based in New York or whatever, and just trying to submit and trying to get published. And I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. So it was this kind of daunting feeling that came over me of like, oh, I have to do something. And I remember kind of joking about it with my roommate. And then one day she was like, why don't you just do it? Like, what's stopping you? And I realized that nothing was, other than my own kind of fears about the grandeur that I imagined for this magazine, whether or not I could actually live up to it. And in all honesty, like, a lot of people in my life didn't really understand kind of the brevity of what I was doing. And they were kind of like, it's another one of Sophie's projects, whatever, she's just a college student. Who knows if this actually turns out to be anything? And then the first edition dropped and everything kind of changed. And we got feedback from the Paris editor of the New York Times reached out to me saying that they love the edition.
Oh my
We're doing
gosh,
a partnership
so cool.
with the American Visionary Art Museum in Baltimore for a food history installment they're doing. And so things got really real, really fast. And I think that the biggest piece of advice I could give is that all of that time leading up to that drop, I had a ton of self-doubt. But I brought on really talented people with me, and we worked really hard to do the best we could. And the best we could ended up being pretty great. So don't, doubt yourself in the process of, it won't be as good as I think it could be. Like, if you work your butt off, it's going to be great. And it's okay if no one else gets it until it's done. That's totally fine. It's okay to kind of seem crazy and then turn out some crazy awesome shit.
Absolutely. You are so inspiring, my friend. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. It's so much fun.
Of course. It was an absolute pleasure. All of our listeners should definitely check out MMMag.com.
Serious campus influencer over here.
Yeah, definitely. Find them on Facebook, find them on Instagram, check out their online edition, and stay tuned for all of the amazing stuff that I know is to come from
Woo, definitely. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Alrighty, guys. So that was one of our interviews for this show, the awesome Sophie Lipitz with Mag. Now we're going to take a little music break.